Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We got a lot of slides tonight. We got the Dragon Lairs briefing and sector consolidation, and it appears that there is a open call in the forums for players that want to participate in the Refactor preview server. So go ahead and direct message just Mike if you'd like to participate. It appears it's limited to about 50 or 60 people. But let me go ahead and introduce. We'll have more people joining us. I think some people are running late. I'm not sure about some other dude, but I'm pretty sure Father George will be joining us soon. I'm joined by Cannon Fodder tonight.
Good evening, everyone.
And why don't we get going with the slides?
Alrighty.
And I'll put you on present. Corey's asking where do we message him? I think it's a pin post at the top of the forum. And I forget his name right now. It's just Mike. It's right at the top. He's asking for you to direct message your user ID. So, and it's going to be Monday, I think at 5 p.m. Eastern time. There's no details on the length of it, but it's out there. It's an open invitation for everybody. So, well, he's asking for more experienced base hitters because that's what the Refactor is about. Changing the whole meta associated with the PvP base hitting experience. So, trying to simplify it and change it or whatnot. I guess we'll all see on Monday. Let's go to the next slide, Kenan. First bug fix is I haven't run into this issue because I don't like hitting the glowing nav relays, but are now correctly displaying the awarded titanium. Have you run into that, Cannon Fodder?
I never had an issue really with it, so no. I've been hitting the new Mega Convoys and I haven't noticed any issue, no.
Okay.
That's typical with bug fixes, so it seems like it's always something somebody else had a problem with.
Yeah, it could be a particular incident or some reason behind it. And the next one's not really it could be a bug fix or an improvement is shrinkage.
Shrinkage. It's a cold water.
Yeah. Yes, it seems that the waters on the map have gotten colder, and everything on the map except for your base has gotten smaller. Your gantry, your whatever. So yeah, if somebody asks you, does my base look fat? You could probably say yeah. I mean, that's what they've gotten around to, and this is I think part of something we'll talk about in a second is sector consolidation, and also improvements to prevent just the clutter on the map. Because I've seen instances where players' bases have been completely covered with the FM garrison targets, so you couldn't even tell that they were there.
FM camo.
Yeah, it was a little over the top. And while that was going on, at least in my sector, because there's the problem that hopefully they fix at some point soon with the locator, I was still getting sent to another sector to find 120s and 121s. So
yeah, locator's been kind of jacked up for a little while, sending you all over the place.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when that happened. I mean, it's 3 months ago it was fine, but it's somewhere in that meantime it's gotten screwed up.
It was during a raid, wasn't it? When it was like right in the middle of the raid, and suddenly our targets for like S targets and stuff like that were showing up a minute or two away and there would be one like right next to your base.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I don't think there was a first one in this. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to check a message from Father George.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, and Corey's bringing up a good point. It might be harder to. It might be harder to hide things, but I'm not sure that any of those targets you could hide stuff under. You know, or those. I don't know.
Some of them you could. It just kind of depended. Some of them you kind of could. Like you could sneak under FM targets and hide under them because they tended to be on the top of the map. But it was obviously impossible with the nav relay and kind of doable with the Legion targets. So.
Okay. Well, let's move on from bug fixes. I think it's I'm glad they did the shrinkage one way or another. And we're continuing with Red Tide Awareness Week. I'm a big fan of it.
Sure.
We appear to have a non-point solution source leaking nutrients off of our base. And no, I think it's great that they're bringing awareness to this topic. Because not people know. I worked for 15 years running a research facility for the federal government to reduce the amount of nutrients that were going from agricultural uses into the Everglades. So I'm a big fan.
You're connected. There you go.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well,
so let's
thankfully, kit size here is to help out. So
yeah.
Right. Speaking of help,
there we go. The Flying Dutchman weekend. Okay. I think players had two different experiences depending on what hull they owned. The players that owned the Razor Tail, they found it incredibly boring from the beginning, or at least some of them did, and some people got quite heated and upset about it. I had the Bat Ray. It was a little bit more of a challenge to drive. It was more technique to drive it, it sounded like, because they were just going around in circles. With the Bat Ray, you had to sort of see when they were going to spawn things and whatnot. I mean, I had some fun with it. I do see both the criticism associated with the fact that it drops shards, and we don't know when we're going to see those shards again.
And random ones at that.
Yeah, and the randomness of it, because I had to get to over 70,000 points before I got the Razor Tail skin. Not that, that's a huge thing, but yeah, and it was dropping assault targets and whatnot. I think it might have been improved, and players might have seen it as more of a fun target if it was potentially point based, and you had a limit on the number of the countermeasures that you could get, as opposed to that it was actually unlimited the number you can get. So some people just ground it out. I mean, maybe 5 or 3 or something like that. So it wasn't another, the 4th raid or whatever. It wasn't another raid that was added, and that's because that's the way it felt.
Sure.
And it might, because some people seem to get quite upset about it, and a lot of the stuff wasn't. We don't know how useful it is now, and that's part of the problems. The Cormorant, the anti-torpedo. We don't really know the effectiveness in the targets. Good.
Well, no, I mean, obviously don't know yet because we can't hit those targets, but I mean, it dropped about 3 minutes off my repair time on the SSRBs with the Bat Rays because I've already fit them to my Bat Ray fleet and it seems to help there. So I'm hoping that the added, benefit on the new hails essentially, is going to help, and not so having the anti-torps is not going to affect it, because I had 10 on there previously, 10 of the Gale 3s, and so I mean, like I said, it immediately dropped time there, and I didn't find the targets too bad, but it just going in basically a big stupid circle is not exactly entertainment. I mean, it wasn't super hard to figure out. I don't really pick stuff apart, and I didn't really do much of stop because no matter what I did, it didn't really change my repair time a lot. More so because of with the lag that you just always get. No matter what I do, I get this shudder every now and again that just makes it impossible to be super technical with the way it. So
Okay.
that
Well,
part was.
I'm trying to make some of the numbers that you put out there relative. You mentioned that you knocked 3 minutes off the SSRB with your bat
Yeah.
raise. What were
No,
you getting? You were going from what to what?
just over 9 to like just under 7. So
Okay.
right in that
Okay.
ballpark.
Okay. Because
So
I don't have them on, and I was
that's on auto.
doing
That's
them.
on
I was
auto.
doing them for 6 or on auto. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I do them for when I drive. I do them for about 6 or 7. And then in the bat raise in the targets, I was able to get them down to in the 13s down to about 7 minutes.
Nice.
Which really didn't help that much if you go back to the base and repair, because you could have 25 minutes and still be able to do that. And it was supposed to be a fun event. A lot of people didn't like it, but I think if they just limited their expectations, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. I ended up with eight or 9 Comrants. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that many of them, to be honest.
Sure. Well, I think that was part of the combination of something that is potentially very useful and random in what you get, and then kind of required some seat time if you wanted to be, damage averse. So I was in Florida in vacation with shoddy internet. So I just used a GM crew and autoed as much as I could before I couldn't stand it and went on about my day. So that wasn't, yeah, I mean, there was nothing technical going on in my world with that in the beginning. On the last day, I did take some time and actually try to do them like a sane person.
Yeah. And Cuttlefish brought up a good point that I was about to bring up, because I did that as well. I'm not sure that this is terribly constructive since it's already done, but towards the end, I started hitting 7s to get the chest to be used in the
resources.
Raid.
For resources.
For the advanced resources. Yeah,
sure. Smart way to do it. Yeah, we had talked about that in our alliance as well. Stack up on those. So.
All right, let's. Unless anybody's got anything else on the Flying Dutchman, let's.
Nope.
Let's move on.
All right, rolling along.
All right. I don't even know what to say about this topic, but semi-controversial topic of sector consolidation. Basically, it's gonna, from what we can tell in the forums, it's gonna happen. The update after the raid. We're not certain of this. It seemed to change at times, but that would be the first time I would expect to see this to happen. And it's to create a more actively competitive world map experience. Not sure what that means.
No.
Because we're also getting rid of sniping at the same time. I think certain players aren't going to like it. I think some players are going to like it. Some players like sleepy sectors where, basically there's only a couple people in comms. You only need to mute a few assholes.
Yeah.
And life goes along at a leisurely pace.
Yeah.
But this is going to force more interaction with other players, which could be bad, could be good, depending on your sort of mindset playing the game. They also mentioned here they're going to be updating world map icons, which we talked about. That's the shrinkage issues.
Yep.
And let's go to the next one that gets into a little bit more detail. Okay, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to clear dead bases. There used to be a mechanism that had this occur automatically. That no longer occurs. So a lot of people are going to be happy about that. I think everybody's going to be happy. Hey, George.
Excuse me. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello. Welcome.
Did you have anything to say about the Flying Dutchman?
It was interesting. It was very touchy in terms of your driving. There is an issue with the razor tail, the Occam's razor, where if you are actually like moving a lot, and I'm not sure if it's based on engagement of the enemy with you or your engagement with the enemy with when you're there, but it'll start firing the speed up field in the wrong direction. And that happened to me a lot, and it cost a lot of damage for me.
Yeah.
But when I did get it to run right, I mean, I actually got one that was under, I think, like 2 minutes. I got a couple of them that were under 5, a whole bunch of them under 10 and 15. And then for the most part, it was like 20, 25 minutes because I just didn't have patience to drive it like a crazy person.
Yeah, yeah. I think we talked about a little bit on the Friday show because I compared it from seeing people's experience to that is that it was sort of like having, an infant in a rear-facing car seat that's got a nitro button on your ship, and this infant has also been drinking, and that's the way I saw it when I watched people do it because it was unexpected speed ups and erratic and yeah.
It's very interesting to drive. I wish one thing I would have loved to see is like a little build-up bar, so you at least know when the hell thing's about to fire, because there's so many things you got to keep track of now in terms of timing for like, when those mortars came out and when the skiffs came out, and it's a lot of shit. It's a nice little thing that kind of fills up to let you know that it's about to fire would be really, really helpful, especially since it's firing all wonky.
Okay. Well, let's get back to sector consolidation because the Flying Dutchman is no longer like a relevant thing. Just throw it out there what your thoughts were. But after they clear the bases, dead bases, we don't know what the requirements the Kixeye has to consider you a dead base, but if you are considered a dead base, you just need to log back in and you'll be put somewhere. And consideration with the fact that how drastically they're shrinking the number of sectors and the number of spawn points, they're increasing the target spawners. So I guess I don't know if that means that they're the number of locations that something spawns from, or the frequency, or I'm not sure exactly how that works because I'm not really sure spawners is a real word. But maybe like if salmon or I don't know the spawners versus I'm not certain, but it appears there's an attempt to balance it relative to the way it is currently and make targets available is the way I read this.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're gonna have to do a little bit of both, I'd imagine. Speed up the spawn rate and also at least increase the targets a little bit. But it seems like it'd be counterintuitive if they increase it too much, because then it'll just negate, reducing the size. You just have a lot more of the little things all over everything.
Yeah. I like I said, I don't know. It doesn't make. We don't have enough detail, and I don't quite.
It's one of the things that was brought up when this came up was there were two things that initially, like my very initial responses were the resources and targets, and then the clutter on the map. And they had already kind of thought through the whole ability for for players to get to the targets and stuff, but the map one, that was kind of like oh yeah, that's a good point. And I'm like, have you seen these things? And we like screenshots and everything, and I was actually kind of surprised at how quick they responded to that second part, because it was something that kind of was on the fly for them. So that was neat. But the resources, like I explained, we can clear an SS, the SRBs with 2 people in like 3 sectors and in like a half an hour. So that has to be looked at, like all the resources and stuff, all the targets, FM targets. When the raid comes around, we have TLCs, anything like that.
Well, the FM targets is a different. I think that's a different thing, because those are spawned by the players' bases. Yeah, it's things like the SSRB. It's things like anything that spawns around the SSRBs that aren't player base generated, right?
But even the player bases, there's only so many spots that they can actually spawn at.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one, because we got tons of slides on this. Well, that appears to be the same slide. So let's go to.
That's actually the one that talks about the NPC target size update, which they already did.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Yeah. That's what we did. We called it shrinkage.
Sure.
Yeah, the shrinkage, and then the the performance balancing, I think, is the way that they're going to do some of the server stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that the servers, apparently, I guess when you're loading into the world, it's not just the stuff. I mean, there's lag from when you're scrolling through the map, but it's also trying to load a whole bunch of stuff. So I think overall, it's actually supposed to. I think it's supposed to actually get better for the lag when they do this, but we will see.
Remains to be seen.
Yes.
All right, let's go on to the next. Let's move another click. All right. Basically, everybody in your sector is going to get moved with you. There's no guarantees that you'll be like right next to each other anymore. That's not certain. 3 days prior to it happening, so I guess we're expecting it to happen with the update after. From what I've read, after the raid, expeditions will stop 3 days prior to that, so the raid ends on, so it's going to end during the raid, your expeditions?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, which isn't good. I mean, it's not,
No.
that's,
but hopefully everyone saved some of those, level 7 Flying Dutchman chests.
Yeah. That's not optimal. And they're going to auto dock your fleets when it happens, and your bookmarks are gone. So, because most likely your bookmarks are related to something that's no longer there. So, let's push another button. Next slide. Okay. There are 5 worlds. Basically, they're condensing from 100 sectors per world, 500 in the entire game, down to 20 per world and 800 in the entire game. So basically, you're going to have 5 times the density of players within a sector across the entirety of the game.
Well, no, probably less, because all the reaps that are going to go on.
Well, the players, the active players.
Actual players.
Yeah. Like I said before, it's going to be good or bad. I mean, the players that like the sleepy sectors and like to go and find VXP targets or things like that, and targets the sectors that have nobody in them, that's no longer going to be available, it appears. And this appears that it's going to start right before VXP weekend. So I hope they keep the spawn rates up on those, because it's a little tricky with the triple salties and whatnot to, if there's a problem with the spawn rate.
Well, not to mention people killing them for, defender tokens, those few that are still doing that.
Yep. And for the first week after the sector consolidation, you'll be able to relocate once per day. And then it's going to go back to normal every 7 days after that first week grace period. So But I have heard if you get relocated to a sector with Laredo in it, you can automatically report it to CS, and they will reset your timer immediately. So I'm not sure if that's true. That's just a rumor. But one more click.
Laredo proximity warning.
Yeah. This is sort of how it's supposed to work. This is not exactly how it's supposed to work, but basically, we haven't got that information. But basically, if you're not in 1 through or 0 through 19 in your world, you are going to get sent elsewhere. And if you are, you're going to have a lot of visitors.
A lot of new friends.
Yeah. So, thoughts on this?
One thing that I am a little bit concerned about is are they going to do something about the sniping before or with this? Because you cram that many people into a couple sectors, and that's going to become an issue, I think.
Yeah. That's one of those things I was talking about before. It was like, between snipers and, just general assholes on comms, you're going to see an increase. Some people don't have the stomach for it, both of them. And I was also surprised by the lashback associated with the push to get rid of the sniping of tour fleets. Later, there was a very vocal group that acted like people were going in and voting with alts and whatnot, and it was just the big alliances that wanted to get rid of it. I have 3 people in my alliance. I don't see a place for sniping tour fleets. It's like kicking puppies. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I know one of the things was a lot of the mid levels and stuff. Some of the lower levels were a little upset because they get walked, and the only thing they can do is that. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I can kind of see that, but at the same point, it's not like that fleet is like a 3-hour repair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I could see some people want Kixeye to fix the larger issue, and I do understand that.
Oh yes, yeah,
and that's but we can't rewind the game for 3.5, 4 years to solve that issue and take all of our ships away and give us new ships and take away the direction this game has been going in years, dividing PvE and PvP to the point where the PvE ships are completely helpless against the other ones. It's this complaint has been out there for a long time, and the fact that it's finally being addressed, I find to be a good thing. The other complaint that these people have is they need to fix this first. They need to fix that first. Refit times, a third dry dock, right, or whatever they want. But this is a simpler situation. This is easier to fix than the other ones, and faster to fix. The other ones are probably much more complicated. Everybody can say, "Oh, okay, well, we can build everything in an hour, and, it's solved." But I think it's much more complicated than that. So I was surprised by the amount of lashback and conspiracy theories associated with, Kixeye trying to limit sniping of chore fleets, because before there was a lot of people with the conspiracy theories that, they're leaving it out there because they want you to get sniped so you coin your stuff back. So it's, it's conspiracy theorists on both sides of this.
The latter may have been true back when repairs were more, I don't know, in a better position, because now there's no for someone to repair their chore fleet, they have to see value in it. And if it was a repair of 3-4 hours, then yeah, you'll probably see people doing it. And I would believe that theory. But when it's like, what is it now? 13, 15, 18 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that.
20 something, 22 hours.
They're not going to do that. They're just going to walk away.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it is part of the bigger underlying problem, but they can't fix everything all at once. So there's steps that they can do, and they're going to take care of that one right first, and then maybe hopefully look at what the underlying problem actually was.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's low hanging fruit. Everybody remembers the low hanging fruit girl. Yeah. So they got that part done. So let's see what the next one is. Yeah, this is what's going to happen afterwards. They're going to disable chat because of whatever, and that doesn't bother me. They're not going to adjust sector threat levels, but they'll keep an eye on it. And during this time period, you can't use BPHQ. Not much to say here. Anybody got anything, or we can move on?
I just hope that they don't mess with the sector threat level once they see that the sectors are more active. I would not like to see, I would not like to see that go back to where it's like it takes an hour and a half to get the damn sector level up,
Well, it's going to need to be orange all the time with that many more people in one area.
Yep. And that's why I'm concerned, because even mentioning that, I'm like, ooh, was that even on the table? Why is that even on the table? Just get rid of it. Get rid of it.
If anything, I would think, as far as maybe that, or almost shortening the time, it would potentially be, for them to recycle. So the SSRBs come back sooner, so you don't have to wait the full time.
I'm hoping that's part of that, the new spawners and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, but the catch is are they going to do that without, because the whole concept of the sector threat was to get that, the sector active and working together, and, and they're clearly pushing on the community thing because we have the global chat now and all that other stuff. I just don't want to see this adjusted the way that our map targets are getting adjusted. I mean, no, just leave it or get rid of it or something.
It's with the 200s now. It's easy. I don't need a sector to get my threat level up. I'll just go do it myself. It takes 2 minutes. You know, so I hopefully, like I said, hopefully that part remains.
But the problem is that's anathema to the whole concept of the sector threat, and that's why I'm concerned when I see this.
Yeah.
Is it on the table to get changed? Because if it is, that's a whole lot of change.
You're worried they're going to fix something that really isn't broken.
Yeah.
No. Well, it is kickstime. So, all right.
Let's go to the next one. I think we're out of sector consolidation.
We're out.
Dragon's Lair,
On to Greta's giant neck.
Yeah, is her neck getting longer and longer every single time?
I think she's doing that neck stretching thing.
Something.
It is Halloween. I know George dresses as Greta on Halloween, and Cannon Fodder, you dress as
Brennus.
Grimshine.
Oh well, this year, yes, yeah. Last year was Brennus.
Okay.
I'm hoping for a much better reaction as Grimshine.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see what Dragon's Lair has for us. Sadly, but not unexpectedly, they got rid of the 100 and the 102, and replaced them with the 104 and the 106. One of the issues associated with that is the shard drops that the 100 and the 102 had that people haven't completed yet. And I'm not sure people are happy that the Nailhead and the Gathering Storm shards are gone, since some people had 2 or 3 of them, and they wanted to finish this up.
But you had a super easy TLC to do that could get them. I mean, come on.
Aren't they in the garrison targets?
120s and 121s.
Yeah.
I think it's a 1. What, it's 1 and 4.
So maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just people were unaware until this point. I'm just saying it's I got plenty of them, but if people weren't a little taken back by the fact that the fact that normally they continue the targets and add more targets historically, but now they're getting rid of the old SS targets and adding new ones. Before they would just drop the completion bonus of them.
Sure.
And that's not the case here. Nothing else has changed besides the tier 8 set, the S set. And we don't know what that target looks like at this point. So again, there's no hit down penalty in this raid. They did make a change. I'm sorry. And the blitz targets, they got rid of the assault targets that were previously there that you could do with mana cores. So, anybody else have anything on this?
Nope, pretty standard stuff. I hate shards.
Okay, very good.
Shards, and I dread raids now just because it's such a damn grind no matter what you do.
Okay, let's move on. All right, tier 7 unlock store. Poseidon's Hurricane is we'll talk about more. We'll talk about all the new stuff later. Is there any comments anybody has on the stuff that doesn't say new after it?
Cluster warheads, 3 for 10 million. Come on. Come on, really? Lockdown rockets for 8 million, scramble cannon for 8 million, cryogenic depth charge for 8 million. Come on, guys. Really?
It's a bit
all those
high.
Should be like 2 million points, not 8. I mean, the people that want this, it's not going to be us that are at the top that are hitting the S sets. No. I mean, this is going to be the people that are down low hitting like B's and C's because they haven't, gotten them. That should not be 8 million points. None of that shit.
No.
All that is just jacked up.
Yeah, pretty much from XR plate 2 down is way too high.
I could see the XR plate 2 at 10 million. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. From that down, I mean, it's
the Zenith D5 CT, but the cryo battery through cluster warheads, 10, and even explosive resistors.
It's all too high.
Just
the rent is too high. But the other thing that
I am disappointed.
Yes, the other thing that I've noticed associated with this is the thing that a lot of people liked about this new tier system that they were doing was there was the uranium and whatnot, like in tier 7, there was a cheap way to get to the lock store. Now that price is 8 million, where I think it was closer to 2 million before, just to get into the lock store.
Yeah.
So that's changed. Let's go to the lock store. Okay. 5 bat ray, 5 razor tails, and shards again. And there, in tier 7, your advanced resources are in the lock store as opposed to the unlock store.
Darn it.
Yeah.
I would rather have seen like the build tokens in the unlocked store, and then in the locked store have the new prizes.
But I mean, within the unlock store, that's what they're trying to get. That's what they're sort of guiding you to get. Or they're pushing. They don't really. They don't want you to get the stuff in the lock store, so to speak. That's not what their first priority is, the way I see it.
Yeah, I think they should just do away with the locked anything. I mean,
I was gonna say, given how much time. Given how much time you have to invest in it and everything, just let it. Let's just let people get their prizes, because either way, they're gonna get what they want. Just forcing them, just making it that much more of a grind to just get into the locked store. It just annoys players.
By the same reason, are they going to bother? I mean, there are a lot of players who sort of just be like, nah, I think I'll go to the park or something. I'm not going to bother trying to get 8 million just to get what I actually want. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think it's enticing anybody to really do it if they were on the fence.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, because I know you might not need to go.
Yeah, we're getting there, but so far so good.
Okay. Tier 6 unlocked, where we get the new Proto Apollo and the kit that goes with it. Rise Inferno Dragon, still 40 million.
Yeah, crazy. Like,
I
mean,
don't
how old is
understand that at all.
That is so old and so necessary. And anybody that was really going to put a lot of money in it already has it. I mean, so what the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it. Anything for the FM, you give us, give the people that want to go and do it and engage and invest in it. We get it. A month or two later, just stick it somewhere nice and easy for everybody, because the FM is like the most basic thing, fundamental thing that you have to do in the game. And doing this is just disrespectful of the players, I think. I mean, that's just not cool.
It's like they just put it in there and they kind of forgot about it. Like, we just, whatever. It's what it's always been. It's fine.
They might have just copied and pasted a couple of
Yeah.
things that are staples and not looked at it, which is possible, but
no, nobody
40
really
million at this
goes
point
through.
is just, 40
Yeah,
million is too
insulting.
much.
I agree that I think the Rise Inferno Dragon is an oversight, and that's just too. It shouldn't even belong in this tier. I mean, it should belong in the next tier, But yeah, it's not great. And again, we'll talk about the new stuff later. Except for I want to talk about. I'm not sure. Let's go to the tier 6 locked, because I want to bring up the fact that there's no Proto Apollo tokens.
Yeah.
In here, you're able to get 5 more of your Bat Ray and your Razor Tails, and for some reason they keep the incinerator in there. I don't know why.
Those itching to build it.
There's no proto tokens at all, right?
No, there's
no protos.
Yeah.
See, and that's another.
I mean, the whole proto thing is broken, and they should have got rid of it.
Well, particularly where they said that they were going to kind of like let it go.
Yeah.
Just throw the tokens in there, because I mean.
Yeah. I was expecting 30 days of build time for 4 million. I mean, because when's the last time you heard about the SSRB getting a third leg?
Last I heard, it was pretty much dead in the water, and they were just realized it was a big screw up. So here's a new thing for it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the last time I heard anything was Wrong Thinker on one of the BP live shows, but there's not been any posts. There's not been any information coming out there associated with that since then. So I don't. I don't know that we're going to see it. At least there wasn't something really inappropriate there. That's what we were all hoping for.
I'd close all that before I started.
Yeah. How you dressed your cat up for Halloween or something like that. Yeah. That's what we expected.
Ken's looking at his Halloween costume and getting all excited.
I dressed my cat up as George for Halloween, actually.
I know, I'm scary. I'm a scary looking motherfucker.
Yep. So. All right. But yeah, that's the only thing I saw was we haven't seen any tokens for the Proto Apollo, which needs a ton of token love for
what
players
about the
to
other
want to build it.
The proto, whatever the fuck. What are the other 2 protos that we have?
The Prototype Seeker and the Proto Centurion. The Proto Centurion is nobody. I've never heard a good word about it.
Oh, I have. Oh, I know people that are having like a ball with them. But the thing is I've not been able to finish either fleet because shit. When am I going to get to do it? And I don't see any TLCs with tokens. I don't see.
I have a full skull fleet of Prototype Seekers.
Do you really?
My bat rays do everything better.
Yes, mine too.
Yeah.
I use my prototypes on like the Scourge blockade and all that because I just auto through it. Then I don't care what happens to it. I don't have to repair it really. It does nothing else. So it can sit there until I have nothing else to repair. The Proto Centurions, I have 4 of them done and 1 kind of sort of done, but I can still do 98s, 67s, all kinds of different stuff with Hydras. So I'm like, why am I even building this? Like, it's just silly.
I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. Like, I still use my hunters for the for the TLC, the daily campaign thingy, and I still do my hydras on auto on 103s. Maybe it's because I just don't need them. I haven't really tried to.
Yeah.
Well, I do the hydras in the 103s, but I
Me
don't.
too.
But for uranium, I just use my bat rays and hit SRBs and get them done with, like 6 minutes of damage, and then by myself and get them, 130, 130,000 whatever uranium, and it's easy. I mean, I could do the same thing with my prototypes if I have somebody else parked in the corner with hunters to increase all my defenses, and then I could do it for about the same thing, but I'm getting half as much, and I need to worry about coordinating with somebody else. I can't do it by myself. So, should we move on? Tier 5? Oh, yeah. All right. Anything fun in here?
No. I mean, a year ago, sure.
Yeah. No, but it's price wise, we'll see. The prices don't seem too high.
There's a couple things that'll be useful for
I mean, all those, but see, all those are so old.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's for up and coming players and whatnot.
I guess, but I mean, Gale Defense System for 1.5 million when it's in the FM. I mean, some of them are
200,000.
Yeah, or even like half that, even if it was like.
Yeah, it's just the old forgotten stuff they just kind of throw in there. Like, here's some stuff we had laying around.
It has a purpose. I'm not sure.
Yes,
it has a purpose, but I'm like, what is that? I mean, I don't know. I haven't been at that level. What's the point of the Valiant at this point? I don't know. And like earlier, what's the point of the incinerator? I mean, there's certain things that they throw out there that I'm like, make something new. Don't recycle something old that doesn't work.
Yeah, the only use I've seen for the Valiant in recent memory is the extra range for sniping. Sniping the guard sometimes or stuff in the base. That's about it, and it's really, really boring to watch.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Ooh, the tier 5 locked. Excitement.
Oh yeah, and this is the sexy part of the show. Let's move on.
Valiant build tokens.
Yes.
High priority.
All right. The Proto Apollo. Doesn't appear at home. I'm not certain where it's supposed to live.
The build time's good.
The build time is good for the base haul. But the components, as we get into them,
make up for it.
Yeah, you're still talking about 15-day build for each one of them.
It's funny how they'll do that. Like, why just make the whole 15 days for Pete's sake, and just make the parts 1 second. I mean, what difference does it make?
Well, it does make a difference.
Well, I know. Right
now you could go ahead and you easily build. You win the Proto Apollo, you could easily build enough to rank in BXP weekend.
Sure, and that's good too, for sure.
Yeah, but if there were 15-day builds with one,
I know. I'm just being ornery.
It's it has a lot of the same stuff the actual Apollo did. If you look at the special abilities with the Accelerate, it's identical to the original Apollo. I still don't understand why the duplicate aura cap is 5. That still makes no sense to me, because it's per ship. It's not requiring any stacking. It's not requiring any. But I don't understand that. We complained about this for a while as far as trying to clarify what aura cap means, and they need to remove the stuff that doesn't make any sense because it confuses players that they don't watch shows or follow the forums or test stuff out. Stuff like that needs to be removed.
If I remember correctly, this one isn't this the one where if you only have one, it doesn't work?
No, this is the one if you don't have, if you put like engine 2 on it or something like that, where it doesn't have enough initial speed, it never kicks in. Because people try to build them with like really low speed at the beginning, but they don't work. It wasn't the number of hulls you had. It was It was the engine that you had on it.
There was one where I remember distinctly, if you only had one in the fleet, it wouldn't activate.
Mm.
I don't know if they ever fixed that, but that was one of the glitches when it came out, and I think that was part of the whole duplicate aura cap thing. But this one right here, I mean, it's supposed to be a self-affecting special. So yeah, I don't understand that one.
No, then I'm sure they have a logic to it. It just doesn't. It confuses players that aren't watching shows and whatnot to understand what that means. It just should be just deleted. The duplicate aura cap, if it doesn't make sense, because they also have it on like Bloodthirst and other things, just needs to be removed and just ignore it when it doesn't make sense. Because right now you look at a duplicate aura cap of 5. Okay, we get a combat speed or 150. Okay, so if we get 5 of them, we get a combat. We get 5 times 150. 750% combat speed. That's not what's happening. So it's confusing to look at, and it confuses players. But I don't think this place I don't think this ship has a home yet. Like I was bringing up earlier.
SSRBs, baby.
Like I said, when's the last time you heard about the third leg of the SSRB? I don't know that it's out there.
I mean, I think it has to be. That's the only reason why these exist.
Yeah.
I mean, they've said that. That's the only reason that the protos exist. They're not going to give us a hull as a higher end prize that just like does nothing. You know what I mean?
It's just crazy the way they've been doing this with these, because they almost immediately kind of, maybe not negate, but give you a potentially better ship for the class where you're supposed to be using the previous raids hulls now, and now I have a whole new one. Now, am I supposed to build these or not build these? Or I've hated this from the jump. It just puts confusion out there and makes something more complicated than necessary.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
All right.
Those repair times, that still drives me nuts.
3 hours. It's
yeah.
Totally
that's just
reasonable.
Base. That's just the base.
I
That's
know.
not no armor, no nothing. I mean, come on.
10 hours, you got a special that's for the Switchblade. It's the next step up, or Switchblade, or the new multi-form, which we'll see next. It's only got a multi-shot of 1. I'm not sold on that we should even really discuss the Proto Apollo or its
or its parts
until we see a home for it, like a place that makes sense,
or a target.
I'm kind of liking that special though.
But it's Garrison and Assault,
right? That's the Garrison part's the part that I like.
Well, the multi-shot, the anti-missile range, and I don't know.
I mean, we don't need it yet because there's nothing really that we need to worry about that anti-missile accuracy and range yet. But the it's coming up to get changed, I think.
Okay.
Maybe then the Greta will go down in price.
Maybe.
It'll go number 35 million.
38.5.
Let's move on. Because I don't have a lot to say about these specials.
Sure.
Because or the weapon, because like I said, I don't feel that we know that it has a home yet. Once it has a home, maybe, but
now look, the Switchblade itself has made some very interesting splashes now and again over the last year. So anything like when it comes to an upgrade on a CM, that's kind of like a double-edged sword, because one, they can tune for it now, and two, you have something that's a little bit better than before. So it's I don't know. I kind of like this one just because I was always a fan of the Switchblade, so
nice
I can live with it. I just hope that they had worked on it and got it to not glitch out like the Switchblade did.
Mm-hmm.
I sure do wish that secondary weapon would actually be able to be used for remote targeting, though. I will say that. Is that it? No one else?
No. Was,
Did he go? Did Hefe disappear for a beer? Let's go to the next
I don't
one.
All right. I don't think he was too interested in talking about it anyway.
Yeah,
So.
he didn't seem that. Hydrofoil tack shield. This is interesting.
Huh?
So we have the explosive defense, tack field resistance, and slow resistance, 20, 40, and 50. I don't know.
Are you really getting much benefit from the slow resistance with the threshold being so low?
No, see, and that's the
Yeah.
thing is no,
It's like a
because
waste.
it's such a low. And then if you're running the razor tail with the Occams,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really care because you're going to
Yeah.
be hopping into your
So,
fields.
sure.
The
The
I mean,
20%. I
yeah, the
mean, we're
20%
already at
explosive
99.
defense. I would rather have seen that, the armor. We've seen those 30% armors for everything else. Explosive
Yeah.
still is a note. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I would love to see that one.
Well, and given how high it already is, I mean, yes, every little bit's going to count, but it just seems like a lot of taking a whole slot for that won't necessarily garner you as much as you'd hope.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make as much of. But I mean, again, it's also the total weight's only 9%, so they may have tuned it, going, yeah, it's not that great, but I mean, it's only
And
9%.
it doesn't seem locked for any particular hull type, so at least you maybe can use it on something else. I'm not sure what at this moment, but it might have some use. Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
All right. Hydroatomizer nozzle.
Oh my, this one I haven't actually had a chance to see. Oh, this is just another one of the. Well, no. So this one's actually similar to the ones that we've been getting for the Conquerors.
Yes.
But this is is this the first
more.
countermeasure reload that we have for generic ships, like generically?
I couldn't say for sure, but
I can't
yeah.
remember.
But
Was
it
there?
seems to be obviously for this raids, type with the reloads and the I mean, it could
Countermeasure reload.
That's nice.
Interesting.
I mean,
Yes, I like that one.
Well, because for my build, I couldn't really fit any bonuses to range on my counters, so I've just got this itty bitty ring. But yeah, I'm liking the special. I have to kind of poke around and see what I got on there, but more reload and more range on counters. I'm happy.
I like that a lot. And it's I mean, now the catch is it's countermeasure and anti-mortar, so it's not going to affect any penetrating. So like phalanxes are not going to get touched by this. So be aware when you use it, folks. This one has a very specific
well, I mean,
listing,
like I said, it seems to be geared towards our current raid holes.
Yeah.
And we're not using phalanx anyway, so I mean, it's mainly anti-mortars, but it obviously isn't going to help your
anti-mortars,
subs.
Anti-mortars and anti-torpedoes.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Are they considered a countermeasure?
I believe they're listed as a countermeasure.
That'd be
check
great.
right now.
Yeah,
I will check right now because
I can't because all heck breaks loose when I touch things. So
I do have. Let's see. It is a countermeasure. Yep, damage type countermeasure. So that's going to work on that.
Now this is a shard you get from the targets, right?
Yeah, this is a drop from what I consider to be the. Yeah, sorry, it's an hour. I had to take a leak too. Sorry about that.
That's no problem.
The way I see this special, it's a limited special.
Yeah.
It drops out of the 104, I think.
I will have this shit on the first day of the raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is right the way I see to use it is to make a dedicated countermeasure ships with the new stuff we got in the Flying Dutchman, and put weapons on all the rest of the stuff. And don't put it on your flag. Everybody keeps on putting their counters on the flag. The flag does more damage. It's got both the flags do more damage than the normal ships.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell's doing that, but I already have.
I see all these builds, all these builds all the time. We're like, I'm gonna put the antis on the flag. And I'm like,
my Razor Tails already had 2 countermeasure ships, and I mean, even though my fleet was kind of eviscerated by Kixeye on the first day, the countermeasure ships actually still worked throughout the whole raid. So I am gonna have this the very first day of the raid. It's gonna be the first thing that I'm going for.
Yeah, and the this does not stack with like the CMCO or whatever those reloaders, the Conqueror ones.
Yeah,
because of the reload.
Sure.
Yeah.
With as far as countermeasure
Kinda.
range, this is the best thing out there.
This is also the only generic countermeasure reload that we have, right?
No, you've got
For
one
any
on
ships?
the.
Is there one from the?
Is that for any? Yeah, the old one that came with when we got the antis on the gluttonies.
That's the one I was thinking about. The one that was with the scourge. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think that's not limited to conquerors or defenders, is it? It's just.
I don't think it is.
Yeah. So that's
that
the only
one's
other
not-
one.
How much is that for the reload? Do you remember? That's the one that I was looking for.
50, I think.
It is.
I don't know. We'd have to look at that. Don't take that because I'm thinking more 30, but I didn't research that, to be honest. But yeah, if somebody could either in chat or whatnot let us know what the I don't know. It looks like a little square, silvery type of thing.
Subaquatic propellant.
That's
There
the
you go.
one.
Yeah,
What's
it was in
the-
chat. It was in chat.
Okay.
I can't look because I've got.
Okay. Yeah, you can look. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I put it up on my phone so I can look at chat, but I can't come off here because you'll see the.
Yeah. We'll see
we'll
how
see
you
midget.
dressed up the kitten.
His
Kitten,
little
the
midget
George-
porn thing.
The George
Yeah.
kitten,
Yes.
the F-bomb cat.
Yes. Yes, a big fat black cat with a big F across
Yeah.
it. That would
Well,
be
That's
something.
that's how I did my pumpkin too. Just put a big F in it.
There
Put a
we
red-
go. And how are the trick-or-treaters feeling about this?
I don't know if they're coming to my door, they're not going to find anything. So
Okay.
no,
Okay.
I live down like almost a half-mile gravel drive in the dark woods. So not too many trick-or-treaters come venturing down here. So
Yeah, especially past the first tripwire. So
yes, claymores. It's important.
yeah.
Security.
Home security.
Pesky 10-year-olds.
But yeah, this has the best countermeasure range of anything. It should really improve your comrades, which is the anti-torpedo.
Yeah.
And it's going to improve the new Gales.
Yeah. Subaquatic's 50% reload, FYI.
Oh, it is 50%. Okay.
Yeah. So it's more
I was
reload
wrong.
than this. Dang
I
it.
said that already.
Yeah.
You just don't- Lack of
No
faith.
one
in me.
listens to you. Yeah, actually,
know.
yes.
Apparently.
Yeah, I'm a bad person.
See
Let's
all
move
that
on.
time you wasted. All right.
Yeah. I'm a bad person. We've already
We've established.
we figured that out. Yeah.
We did.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the dedicated countermeasure ship. As far as everybody has a bunch of tokens for their stuff, does it make sense to, extend your range, extend your reload, and whatnot, and consolidate all your countermeasures into a single ship, and let the other ones provide more damage by changing some of the specials and eliminating some of the specials that do that are more about increasing damage?
Because not being able to stack the reloads.
I already have 2 countermeasure ships for my Razor Tail fleet, so
Okay, all right.
I mean, I had that in the first one because I intended to auto. So that was one of the things I swapped out, one of the damage hulls with a countermeasure hull for autoing.
Okay. Hey, Earth, how are you doing?
I'm good, guys.
I'm leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. That sounds about right with you, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. Well, our next one's the
Sorry,
Poseidon's Hurricane.
I'm late, been busy, so.
Okay. Poseidon's Hurricane, flagship for the Witch Doctor and the Revenant. I don't see much action with the flagships because they sort of are they just not good?
It's that range that's the problem. Because the range is only 75. With the way that a lot of the bases are set up now, it's just going to die as you're going into the channel. Now that's not to say.
Depends on which way you set it up.
Well, yeah,
This
that's
one
true.
isn't.
But
This one's
not. This one's actually
one's
quite.
tough.
If you actually
see,
look at.
I'm not looking at any of it
things.
because the refactor's coming. I mean, I'm not looking at PvP at all because none of it's going to fucking matter until we know what the hell's going to go on with the refactor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
True, but as it stands at the minute, it's actually quite a good flagship to have, especially
Why is
with the
that?
new attack mod. It works. It'll work if you actually sit down and work out all the numbers and put the right armors and stuff and the right weapons on there.
What I really wish I had seen with the flagships is rather than like I love that they're coming out with like pairs of deflections, you know, to help with certain damages, but I really dislike the fact that they're limiting it to certain Conqueror hulls. Like it should just affect all Conqueror hulls.
Yeah, I agree. I do
Yeah.
agree.
And it
I,
should
I
affect
want that.
itself.
I want that little bit of freedom for design, because you know with the PvE, I understand they want to kind of limit it and maybe you know destroy certain builds in PvE so you don't take quite as much of advantage of stuff. But for PvP, you're against other players, man. I mean, you want that wide open. You don't want to limit us to,
Well,
to
yeah, you
shit.
need to have it wide open because there's literally millions of different combinations that could be put together. You know, that's the be all and end all of it. Really, is you know, not every base is going to be the same. Not every defending ship's going to be the same. Everything's going to be different. So we need to have the ability when we're hitting bases to have ships that are different for those kind of eventualities that are completely out of the box.
Did Just Mike make it tonight? Mike, listen, this is the challenge. For some reason, I want to see this in the refactor. If you guys can squeeze it in, make these things for flagships. The idea is fine. Just make it so they affect the conquerors in their entirety, not just specific ones. I'd love to see that. Pretty please.
Yeah, and affect itself, because it's
Yes,
not.
yes, absolutely.
It's not an effective ship, because if you compare it to the Revenant or the Witch Doctor, offensively, defensively, whatnot, it's not good, and it's faster than the rest of them. You know, it's not. It doesn't. You know, nobody would build it this way. If they, you know, if you were this Navy, it'd be like, oh, okay, we're gonna, you know, whatever. We don't get into it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because it is a faster ship than the rest, and it's less specific on the deflections, and it's lower on the attack as far as your damage bonuses. It's just not. It's not great. Let's move on to the next one because we've been going on the slides for a long time. This is the one I like.
Oh, it's about time we found something that you like. All right.
Well, I like certain things, but I find this one. I find this one interesting. Yeah, I do.
I mean, he
find
has
this
pictures of girls on slides, and he's looking at the sandwich that they're making instead of the girl. I mean, he has some very interesting likes and dislikes.
What kind of sandwich was it?
I don't know. I wasn't looking at the sandwich.
Exactly.
First question: is it cold snap immune?
It doesn't
is
say
not.
it is.
There's no aura, or there's.
It is not cold snap immune.
Okay, but okay. So, the way I see this, so you know, I talked to Irf about it. He brought it up to me, and I see this on your. I see this
Defense
combined with your
rather than-
EMP blast on your defensive fleet, your guard, your patrol.
That works the other way as
the
well.
reasoning behind that is because we were having a little chat about it last night, and you know when you've got your gut spill that's transferring its, you know, your gut spill is transferring its health across to another ship. You get the booms both ways.
Mm.
So, you know, if you're going to get the booms both ways on your guard, it's not really going to help your attacker a great deal, is it? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Basically, if you combine this with the EMP blast lasts for I think it's a 12-second stun, and I think it's 375k of armor points that it needs to take to go to the next blast. And during that 12 seconds, you're adding 450k of armor points. So, this could be a very interesting mechanism. This is the one that I would like to see how it plays out in the game. But looking at the math, it's I don't know, worrisome. You know, I mean, but it could work out great. I just don't know. But This is the one I'm most curious to see how it works once we have it in our fleets and able to see, you know, how it works.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It has a limit of 3. And I think as I recall, I think it has about a 20-hour build time. So, ready for the next one?
So, I'm just going to say, like, obviously, with the range of 100, if you've got 2 lines of defense, you want to be sticking it at the back. So it's obviously a little bit of a goalkeeper if you've got it on like a warden or something like that. So the warden's going to keep firing. It's also going to keep on replenishing health if you're going to use it in your guard.
Yeah, and this could all change with the refactor. You know, the thing that's sort of
agree.
Hell over our head. Yeah, that we don't know quite how to build. But again, there's going to be on Monday. There's going to be a refactor preview. It's going to be semi-open. There's on the forums. There's invitation to people that to contact Just Mike in case you would like to join. And
oh, poor Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
did he really?
Oh, no, he didn't. He asked for direct messages. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Oh, poor Mike.
He's gonna get, you know, he's probably gonna be over the all caps by the end of the evening, or if he's not already. But
I'm gonna pass a virtual drink to him because he's gonna need it. Holy crap!
Yeah, I wouldn't ask for direct messages, but does this is part of the point where I think said, you know, Venom put out his little thing where it appears to be hanging out in the park with a table and telling people that PvP is balanced. Is this changing this? Is this even pushing, you know, corrosive and concussive out of relevance? We haven't got to CTCO3, but even at 2, with everything else combined, have we reached a point where PvP is a little whacked once we start putting this on?
Well, no, because you still got to make weapon choices. Even if you're only going to use one plate of this, you know, you're still back to death by 1,000 cuts, right? Which is the way you've got to look at everything realistically. But you're still going to have to use a combination of 2 plates, or, you know, 2 of these plates in order to get past that big number of dot damage from corrosive, and then obviously that is limiting you on other things. So, you know, it's kind of still not balanced in a way where you can use all of the ships with the desired weapons that you would like to use. Realistically, I think they should have just gone and put both of these in, because we just need to have them in so that we know where we're at. We can refit all of the shit that we've got straight away. Then they know where they're at when we actually start hitting bases properly again.
Yeah. And the other question that I want to back up to both this, the CTCO play and the flagship, the Poseidon's, Hurricane. Should they have been released in the raid, or should they have been released in bounty?
No, they should have been released fucking
2 months ago.
2 raids ago, and
but as far as
ago.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, should this be released in bounty, or should this be released not next bounty?
But we've discussed this. I mean, if it's you know, if it's going to be a defender or defense type of thing, it should be in the raid or the FM. If it's going to be a purely offensive thing like these, you know, well, actually, just the Poseidons. I mean, the armor might be, you could stick it in the raid, but The pure offensive stuff should show up in bounty first. But you know, one of the one of the things that I've been kind of contemplating looking at this and reading the stuff on the Refactor and because I went back and I found that post of his, and you know, a lot of it is, a lot of people are like, you know, go with the top end base hitters, and that's how you're gonna find out if it's balanced, and that's kind of true to a point. But the thing is, top base hitters and top bases usually find a way, right? Historically through the game, they've usually found a way. Where you see a real big imbalance in PvP is when you start going into the mid levels.
Agreed.
And I think if they really want to balance PvP, they've got to look at both, because he's asking for, you know, proficient and top end base hitters, and that's great if you want to balance just at the top. The problem is when you're balancing, like, you know, we have the stacking turrets and all this other crap. When you start getting into lower level bases or people that haven't gotten as much stuff, you're really imbalanced. Like it's a walk to the back of the base, and you know, you're just clubbing the hell out of the baby seals. I mean, if it weren't a problem, you would have never seen that Vanquisher sell as well as it did at the beginning of the year. And that thing sold like hotcakes because people wanted to at least feel like they could damage the motherfuckers coming in and flattening them instead of them walking out with a minute and a half of damage. And the more I look through this post and think through some of this stuff, I think I want to see maybe a separate test server with people just in like the 75 to 100 range, and that's it. Because
I mean,
they've got to look at both data points. They have to.
yeah, I agree with you, because it's a case of haves and have-nots, but then it's always been this way since all of this crap was implemented. So again, like we've said many a time before, all the defender stuff needs to be in a raid, right? Even flagships and everything else, so that people who don't do PvP can defend their bases, needs to be in a PvE event, not PvP. You know, and the people who are actively seeking out to do PvP and want to attack other people's bases, then, you know, fine, put it in bounty. You know, let's go out and smash loads of bases, and you know.
And that's
Get
why
all
I
the
said
stuff that we need to
that
carry
the,
on.
you know,
But
purely offensive stuff should be in bounty, because you know, participating in bounty, and the thing is like we got to look, bounty's fucking broken. Okay, it's turned into a PvE
well, yeah, it's
event.
crap.
It's crap. So what they got to do is get bounty back to PvP, and then once it's back to PvP, stick with what the intent was. You put out the stuff for PvP. The players that are PvPing are going to get first crack at it and have that little bit of lead time, but don't wait 2 or 3 months to release this stuff again. You know,
Agreed.
a month, maybe month and a half. I mean, that's probably on the outside, unless you make the longevity of the items longer. You know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like a two tier balance that they've got to go. But I
Well,
definitely
I mean,
would.
because kind of what they've done by releasing the, I mean, realistically, unless you're building a spotter, what they've done by releasing the cryo adder was nullified all of the rest of the PvP ships from anything that had a
Yep.
cryo adder in the base, and it's been that way for far too long. And you know, these plates should have been out ages ago, so that people who were catching up and trying to get into the PvP and like increase their level in PvP should have had this available to them, so they could actually use the ships that they've, you know, the older ships that they've just managed to get in order to hit better bases. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of how they've done it. It's not really worked out for the whole community at all. And it's not just people at the top end of things. It's, you know, people that are trying to graduate from like hitting lower level bases into hitting better bases and stuff like that. They've kind of screwed themselves over with the whole PvP thing just by the way that they've done it. And as well, on the defending side, when you're basically trying to force people to do bounty in order to get the stuff that they need to defend their base. If you're going to do that, you're going to screw two different types of people that play the game at the same time, and it's just you need to think about that, I think.
And yeah, and that's why I was looking at it, because I think I've said this often. If you're in the pond and you're a big fish, you got to have that minnow to eat. If the minnows are all gone, the big fish are gonna die. So I just, yeah, I have a couple of concerns, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like on Monday and see what the feedback is from the players. I just don't know how many did he I'm looking through this thing. I don't see how many, if he's put in slots or not. Oh, he actually said that we had the test servers too. Okay. Interesting. So, oh, I actually like Mike. This is interesting. So he put in that post that there's been 2 test servers already for the PvP refactor. So Monday's gonna be the 3rd one. It's gonna be that semi-open one. That's gonna be interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how many people are actually gonna be in it. Or if you're gonna be there. The hell, did I lose everybody?
No, I just, obviously have face gone quick to get a beer. I'm looking at the forum so I can message Mike. Try and get in there. So,
yeah, because I'm trying to see, because like the first one was only like 10 players, 25 players. Is he say how many people he's gonna have in this one?
Well, I don't know.
It doesn't say. Yeah. I mean, I hope he actually looks through and sees. I mean, they can pull the data and see who's like in the top for the medals, and how many of those people are under 28-day bubbles, and how people did in bounty, and I don't know. Like I said, I really want to see a whole.
I mean, I'd like to get in there. I mean, obviously, I'm actually off on that day, which is even better. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to message him, because, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. It's just it's crazy, really. There's quite a few of my guys that hit bases a lot, and they're just kind of really dissatisfied a minute, because they know that they've got to only use certain fleets, because there's not a lot of ways that they can use other different things which they would like to.
Right.
And we've all been kind of waiting to refit stuff until we've actually had this release. So it's going to be really interesting for my guys, especially, because we've all been kind of like a little bit like, we don't really want to refit anything and stuff like that, but we really want to do it to actually get hitting properly, like hitting all the time. And it's been like a catch-22 situation, because you don't want to donate a load of shipyard time and then all of this come out and everything's completely and utterly screwed, so you've just like completely and utterly wasted everything.
I'm also hoping, what I haven't seen, what I'd really like to see addressed, is whether or not they're going to, and I do not want to see the cheesy ass, oh, we're going to do it in a TLC thing. I want to see something come out where they're like, hey, we're doing the refactor. The first week we're going to give you guys, like 1 coin repairs for everything. And here's like, a treasure chest of tokens to refit your shit, because I have a feeling I have a feeling that no matter what they do, because the PvP, the whole game is essentially a big game of Jenga at this point. You can't really just change one thing or adjust one thing without affecting everything. So there's no way that this refactor is not going to affect players' builds and setups for bases and all that stuff, right? So I kind of want to see that addressed somewhere. I haven't seen that quite addressed yet. And I know a lot of people are kind of concerned because, like, I know I started stripping some of my hulls, and I have blanks building because I don't know what's going to be good when it comes out. You know, I mean, my MSCs used to be awesome, and now they're kind of just like, eh. And the witch doctors are badass, but you know,
you can refit those MSCs with the armors now to make them. Yeah, it's a tricky thing.
But we don't know what the refactor is going to eventually bring out.
Exactly. So you know, it's still a case of, all right. So yeah, I know that this is here, and I know that I can make my other stuff work now. But is it going to work after Monday and
Right.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
And that's why I want to see that addressed somewhere. I would love to see that addressed somewhere.
I think that's why they're doing it, right? Just to understand, you know.
Well, it is
people
because a lot of people. There's
they're
so
doing.
many
Wait,
people that are holding off.
a lot of things. They're doing what to address this?
They're including, like, you know, a larger group of people, players that actively have bases, to get their feedback as far as what they see associated with this.
For the rebalance, sure.
Yeah,
but when you're in
refactor.
when you're in the preview, you're fitting with the stuff that you have that they've retuned. That doesn't mean it's going to make it into the game, one, and two, it's still not going to tell you what the final thing is going to be. I mean, all these other players that aren't in the preview, you know, what if they, that still has to get addressed. I mean, it's still going to affect your builds. You can be in every single preview, and until the final numbers come out, you still are going to be affected. You can know everything that's coming out a month before. You're still not going to be able to refit everything in your base and in your garden and your, you know, fleets.
I'm showing admin here on the side. Yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to end up at the end of the day.
The thing is, as well, especially with like deflections and any pass through or anything like that they want to get involved with, such a small difference could make such a massive difference. So, you know,
there are certain things that do need to be addressed, and one of them is, how are you going to help the players kind of do the transition? Because there's going to be a transition period. There has to be a transition period. And, you know, people are going to want to test out stuff. I mean, hell, at this point, because I know there are people that buy bubbles to avoid losing metals and shit, shut off the metal system for a week. Turn everything to like 1 coin for a fleet repair or something. Like, because you're going to have to see how it goes live as well. You can run as many test servers as you want. There's a massive difference between the test environment and the live environment. So why not, you know, let the players have some fun while they're running the new stuff, and you'll still make some money on the side too, because you're still going to have repairs. It's just going to be only a coin. I'll guarantee you there's going to be a whole shit ton of base hitting if that happens. If they really want to see PvP, that's what you do. 1 coin base repairs, 1 coin fleet repairs, just have at it. You will see the game lit up like fucking Christmas.
Okay. Look at the next slide.
What next one? Cannon fodder is left.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the next one deals with what I think is the one of the bounty prizes, which appears to be it's called the Tactical Radiation Dampener, which I'm assuming is a turret that shuts down radiation damage. This is the last slide, so, you know, whichever. So I just wanted to see what everybody thought about that. It's on the PP page, the Facebook Battle Pirates page, not, you know.
So what you're saying is it's a special for turrets, yeah? to dampen down.
No, I'm sorry. It's a turret weapon. It's a turret anti. It
Turret
appears to be a
weapon.
turret anti.
Right.
It's called the tactical radiation dampener, and it's yeah. Yeah, I've invited everybody in case they would like to join the after show. We've been going for an hour and a half, just slides and whatnot. So
Good Lord. Actually, you know what? Since Mike had said that there was other servers already, one of the reasons, just so people are clear as to why I'm really adamant that something's got to be done when it goes live. The change between the first preview and the second preview was enormous. I'm guessing that between the second and the third one that we're going to see on Monday, it's also going to be because they are actively looking at everything that is done and found in these, and they are making changes, which is probably why he wants to see more people as, you know, the test servers come out. They're probably going to start adding more and more people in just to see, because the more people you have doing it, the more stuff you're going to find, right? So as they kind of tweak and tune it, I think we're going to see another maybe one or two test servers with more people in it. But again, it's still going to be, you know, even if it's a semi, public or even a public test server, until we see those final numbers, I think they're at this point where they're actually testing it. They got to come out and discuss what they're going to do for that like first week or two after the rebalance comes out. Because I know there's like players that have a ton of PvP stuff. They're not going to want to refit all that shit and lock up their shipyards for 3 months trying to convert over and transition to the refactor, because the refactor's on Kixeye. So all that stuff should be able to get fixed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hey,
Mike.
so which link did you use, Mike?
Yeah, where's
the
Aaron?
one in the Hangout? Or
No,
the one
no,
in
the
side
first one
chat?
and the second one. The last one?
Yeah, must have been.
Okay. Because, Aaron was complaining that it didn't work. The next thing I know, he's buzzing on my phone, so I'm not sure. That was that noise, so I'm not sure what was.
No, I'm sure I just went up to the.
You sent him somewhere else on his own. You put him in the naughty corner.
Yes, as in Discord, what is it called? The quiet room. Yeah.
Quiet room.
Well, because it was going on my phone. I can't be.
Put him on the naughty step. Come on.
No. It's just like he's trying to figure it out. I don't have any problem with him. It's just I can't be answering phone calls during the show. Because I gotta have time to grab a
Why
beer.
can't you answer a phone call? You fuck off for 20 minutes to go and get a beer. Why can't you answer a phone call?
Tony, I had to get. If I'm going for 3 minutes, you guys, you could handle it.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
My ass.
All right.
All I'm gonna say is replace the fucking batteries in your clocks.
Dude, just get a fucking little mini fridge and put it next to you. You're running a show.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Either, but yeah.
Where's the professionalism for this?
Yeah. After an hour, I'm done with the professionalism.
After an hour, dude, I was on here before an hour, and I was already hearing like the and yeah.
No. I stayed through the first hour and didn't walk away, but yeah. But yeah. So
who was that? Was that Earth?
I don't know.
Me? Never me. Never.
I mean, all right. Are we still have stuff that's worth talking about on the live show?
Yeah, Hefe, get a fucking fridge.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what else did we cover? Like, did we cover all the crap for next week and all that stuff coming in November? The dev diary from Mike, things like that.
Yeah.
You guys already cover all that.
I mean, I did cover the fact that why the fuck are all these people? Early on we covered the fact that like the anger associated with the trying to reduce sniping, and that I found interesting, and I brought up early in the show because it's like, some people were just doing everything in all caps and not making any fucking sense. There was that group. And then there was another group that wants us to, okay, you want to fix sniping, but I want to fix this. And, they're trying to fix, it appears they're trying to fix one thing at a time.
I mean, I just want to.
Because it's,
I'm sorry, because I've been at work all day, so I haven't actually seen what it is that they want to do with regards to changing sniping. But the way that I see it personally is that it's one of the biggest off-puts for people playing the game at the minute. With repair time so high for chore fleets especially, and the amount of chores that people have got to do, it's a massive impact if people go out sniping chore fleets.
There's a whole group out there that are like, they blame it on STS7 and the big alliances that they did this as some sort of special interest group. And that's what's going on.
Oh yeah, it's all SDS. SDS7 runs kicks.
Well,
Didn't you fucking know that?
And
Yeah.
they're trying to
the fact that most of the big alliances have all got fucking no sniping chore fleet rules.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That means nothing at all, does it? Whatsoever.
It's an interesting group. I mean, maybe I'll have George in on like a Sunday to host a group to, sort of a group for all the sniping people that are angry, and he can moderate that
The
group.
disenfranchised snipers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
to deal with that group, they sort of scare me, but you can moderate that group.
They seem to love me, man. Every time my Katie's is on the water, it gets fucking sunk. They love me.
Yeah. They're a very angry group that use a lot of all caps. I just don't. I wouldn't find that enjoyable to have a show, but you could moderate that show. That'd be a fascinating.
I mean, to be honest, there's no fucking need for it. Everybody knows that the only people that win out of sniping is Kickseye in any situation out of it, because a lot of people. I mean, if I get sniped, my tool fleets get sniped. I just go, all right, yeah, fine, stick it on repair, and that's it. It'll be on repair, whatever. I'll go out and snipe every single base.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, though, and that's what I had said earlier. If the repairs were cheaper, you'd see people coining it and not walking away. And now where the repairs have become so high for chore stuff, people are just walking away. So if I were a business, I'd want to stop the sniping too, because I don't want my players to leave. I want them engaged. If they're engaged and they're having fun, they're going to spend. And that's where we go back to the
point, though, that people are making alt bases that can't be hit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because of certain rules.
Yes.
In order purely just to snipe people.
Yeah. Ask me how long a Katie's lasts against an MSC.
Yeah, does not
very fucking long. That's the answer. But they've got a. I think and part of the people, some of the people that are upset about the sniping thing are also. I think Hefe mentioned this earlier, was that they're upset because it's not the sniping that's the issue. It's the repair times that's the issue, right? And that's true. But I don't see them like that's a bigger.
It's not that
puzzle
though.
To fix
because the whole point is that it impacts so much on the amount of chores that you've got to do, because it then limits your amount of time that you've got to do.
Right, but it's also one of the only avenues for lower players to retaliate as well. So, and that's that's a very valid concern about stopping the sniping, is that if you're a lower level, if you're like a level 85 and your base sucks and you're getting hammered every freaking day and a half or 3 days, whatever, from somebody because they're being dicks. I mean, you can't do anything now if there's no sniping. So, I can kind of see both sides of that, but the base problem really is the repair times. But until that gets corrected, they've got to do something, because you can't engage in the game. And I'm already getting forced into engagement with some of these things with all the PvE stuff. I want to
It
be
is very true.
yeah, I want to be engaged because I want to be engaged, because I want to get on the game, not because I feel like I have to be on it to get something. That's a whole nother story though. But the thing is like from a business perspective, you want your player engaged so it affords more revenue opportunity. If the repair times were like an hour or two for a chore fleet, then yeah, okay, you can leave sniping in because you'll probably have some revenue that way. But when it gets to the point where it is now, you're not going to see players want to coin that to get back in to do their
I
FM.
would rather, right, have to go out and go and get X amount of fucking uranium or titanium in order to repair my fleets for like 1 or 2 coins. To be perfectly honest. So you're keeping the engagement. You're also reducing repairs and everything else. I'd much rather just do anything than have to wait 15 hours for my fleet to repair to do chores. I'd even do more chores in order to fucking repair it quicker.
See, I would like for
It
the
sounds really
FM,
bad.
if I could do like 3 or 4 targets be done in 20 minutes and have, you know, a 10-hour repair that I would repair overnight, I could live with that. Because I'd be done.
Yeah.
And then I could do
That's the
something the
same
fuck
as well.
else. Now, the
Yeah.
catch is I'd be done, but I wouldn't be able to do anything that night because I'd have a 10-hour repair. But the next day, I wouldn't be doing FM. I'd be hitting bases or I'd be doing other chores or, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, it's so, binary is
But
not the word,
at
but
the minute, the way things are, I mean, especially if you're working, you know, 10 to like 15 hours a day or whatever. By the time you get in, you have something to eat, sit down, you can play games. So your FM's can take you like, so that's 1 day. Then you got to go out, get titanium, uranium, etc., etc. It's like 3 days out of your entire week where you're not being able to do anything other than just do chores.
not counting TLCs and not counting the weeks that the FM has, you know, uber
Yeah.
amounts of shit in
Not
it that takes you 3
not
days to do
including
your
bounty,
FM.
not including fucking raids,
Yep.
everything else. So you know, there isn't really that much time you've got for doing PvP. So this is kind of another thing that, you know, they want to get people back into PvP. Fuck off the amount of PvE we've got to do. It's fucking bullshit, you know.
But it's see at the and so here's the flip side of that. If I am having a problem with, say it's my game and I'm having a problem with PvP, but the PvE side's kind of okayish, it's still being engaged with and everything. That's a massive risk until you get PvP squared away. I would not want to let go of the PvE. Now the catch is
I
they
agree.
can
However,
still tune the PvE so it's a little bit more fun than it is right now.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I wouldn't want to get rid of it so much, but you know, give us options where we can kind of do
Look,
it.
as a player, I want it gone. I mean, I don't want
Yeah.
fucking this much PvE at all. But looking at it from the other side, I mean, I can totally understand why it's not going to go away. I just wish that they would look at it and reassess it to make it a little bit more of a fun engagement rather than a chorish engagement. You know?
Yeah, I think as well, to me, I mean, obviously we've got various garrison targets that we've had in the past and stuff like that. Kind of like just mix it up a bit. Chuck a few of them on the map that we've, you know. I remember these targets.
You know what?
I used to love these targets.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they threw just
Yeah.
randomly every once in a while like some odd old ass targets like in the FM they'd throw in one of the old FM targets. I mean, I would love even if you could just walk it. It would just be fun to engage it.
Yeah, because it's all about nostalgia and stuff like, you know, I remember these. I used to hit these with whatever and that.
Yeah, that and it's always
know what I
fun
mean?
to be able to walk something for like 0 damage. I mean, that's always a blast.
Yeah.
You know? Make them worth like 10 FM points. Make them worth shit, but at least, you know, they're fun to go and fuck around with, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Should we wind up? Should we wind up like, you know, like what
go
seen
into
from the week
show.
and well, you know, like what we've seen from the week, what we expect coming up, and whatnot. Because I'm looking forward to a
I expect a preview server on Monday.
yeah, that has a greater. Well, before that, we're expecting the raid, but I do. The preview server on Monday is going to provide greater player interaction. Of the general player base than we've seen before associated with this, and probably seen in a long time as far as a preview server, which I think is it's a good thing. I think it's inclusion. It includes people that feel excluded. Just Mike has been doing a lot of that on Discord. Look around for the link for Discord as far as because there is more interaction than there was before. They advertise interaction like okay, well, wrong thinker and is going to show up, but they never did. But now there's a good amount of interaction, at least over the last week.
Yeah, it comes
that
in
players
fits and
can.
spurts.
Yeah, it spits and spurts. It's spurts of it, but it's still more than we've seen before because a lot of players feel like, okay, they're not listening to us. They're listening to, as you see on the forums, we're listening to two alliances and whatnot, and they're driving the game. And I want people on there that are not going to be conspiracy theories of, because it appears that they're listening. Not ranting and raving and whatnot. That would be cool to see because that would help improve the game because, honestly, I think some of those people that are there already are driving people away as far as the kickside interaction because it's craziness, if you see it. They disagree with, they interrupt themselves. They don't make any sense. But it would be cool to have people that, you have a concern, you have whatever, and you don't want to troll it. You just want to provide something to provide your point of view. I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's, I've been on it and I found it enjoyable, that they appear to listen, interact, and come back at you. Don't expect it to be 24/7. But if you hang out there for a bit, you can see that they're trying to listen, they're trying to fix the game, but just don't bring up the craziness all the time. I mean, that they're doing this because of that and whatnot. The alternate facts. Don't bring that up. I mean, it's not helping anybody. It's blocking real players from doing things. But I don't know. I find it enjoyable personally to see that they're listening and trying to understand the issues the players are going through. And it's great that they're adding more people to these open sectors, open previews. Or closed previews, but you know what I mean. I think they're trying to make some positive steps. And when you're on that, realize that that's what they're trying to do. Don't complain about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say it took a little bit for them to understand that, because there are times when like there'll be discussion going on, and I'll bring up a concern, and they'll have an answer because they've thought through the concerns, right? And this is the part that's really a little bit difficult at times. They actually do think through a lot of the stuff, but they try and think through it ahead of time, and then they think that because they have an answer for it, but the difficulty is that they in the past, especially like probably 2017 particularly, when a certain GD was in, they didn't quite understand the fact that I understand you guys know what the problem is. I know that you guys have what you think is the solution. The problem is the perspective of the player, because that's what really ultimately is the final thing for how it's viewed, right? And I think this team, while I'm kind of still iffy on some of the communication stuff, I still like to see more communication and responsiveness, but I think that they have started to look at not just the answers that they have, but also how things are perceived by the players. And I think it's a little bit difficult because usually on that side of the fence, you don't do that generally because a lot of times the perception, like, I mean, you can watch how Blizzard does it, you know, sometimes, you know, players are like, they flip out and this is OP and it really isn't because Blizzard's already thought through it. The catch is a lot of times the perspective still holds through certain things. And it's something that you have to balance. Blizzard's very, very good at balancing it. Kixeye seems to have started looking at the perspective input as well, which is really promising. I just don't know how they're going to actually interpret it. That's the catch. You know,
Yeah,
it's all kind of newish and it's a new team. So, you know, time will tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We don't know what the output's going to be at this point, but at least if you get on Discord, you will see that they're trying. If you get on at the right time, you know, and that's all we can ask at this point. Because when's the last time that, you know, a player that's not in some sort of special group felt like they were getting listened to? You know, and you look at the state of the forums. And just the all caps, the craziness that goes on in the forums. These players don't feel like they've been listened to, and now they've been turned into sort of a crazy bunch, to be honest. But I could be wrong. You know, I'm not allowed on the forums, but you know, that's what I see when I read them. I'm not allowed to post on them. I'm not even allowed to read them.
Yeah, I can't read them. I'm banned if I follow a link. And I was really frustrated because there was, if you go to your settings, like if you're first starting to try and do that, the hardware acceleration thing, and you have a problem and say you fail one of the tests, it actually gives you a link into the forums. Well, if you follow that link and you're banned, you can't read it.
Yeah. Oh, my last 2 tickets were associated with the Halloween event, and one was the fact that, you know, I put in a garrison hall twice into the level 7 target, which was supposed to be garrison based, and I think I took 8 hours in damage with my Inferno Dragons. And then I hit it after they said they were going to fix it, but I filed the ticket before they said they fixed it. And then I still took like 5 hours of damage with the garrison targets. And they told me they gave me a link to, go discuss this in the forums. Not realizing at all that CM Chris had already said, the tier 7, the level 7 targets are broken and we're fixing them. They just, it's just concerning, some of the stuff that customer support comes out with, because that was good.
From the forums, mate, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, because we won't even talk about that, because I was disagreeing with battle mechanics with I think Toyota, and he banned me because I was right and he was wrong. So yeah, it was why certain people got banned.
That's why you're not allowed back on the forums, because you won't just go, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The whole thing with the forums is it's bullshit. I don't even want to get into that, but yeah. But I'm sorry. We were trying to have parting words and summaries of the week. Does anybody have anything else? If not, we can
not really.
we can end the show.
All I want to say is thumbs up for open test servers.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's a great move, and all the interaction that they've been having with players. So
yeah,
let's all we're gonna end the show, and we'll see you all on Friday, and we'll see how this raid goes. I am a little disappointed we don't have the 100 and 102, but whatever. They were gonna be too easy anyways. I mean, they would, yeah, they would have been way easy with the flagship with the new weapon. We would have just run over those.
Yeah, but see, that's what kind of depresses me. But that's a whole nother story. Yeah, let's.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, because I wish they would have been consistent and kept them
Yeah.
around. But yeah, I just changed something about it. But all right, let's
Have a good night, everybody.
see you on Friday, and happy Halloween.